Bullet number 4, the doors, the valves. I'm going to go rave green. This first door, this valve right here, between the right atrium and the right ventricle, it's made up of 3 flaps that come together. And because it's made up of 3 flaps, that's how it gets its name, the tricuspid valve. If you can't see this, it's on our notes. It's bullet number 4. Over on the left side, that flap only has 2. That valve only has 2 flaps. And because it only has 2 flaps, that's how it gets its name, the bicuspid valve. Now, we're going to learn this as being the bicuspid valve in this class. Doctors, they refer to this as the mitral valve. Just store that in memory block number 86. All right, they did it easy for us. They said any valve that deals with the pulmonary circuit is a pulmonary valve. So that means this door right here outside the right ventricle, that's going to be a pulmonary valve. And that door up there, outside the left atrium, this door is going to be a pulmonary valve. They made it easy. Any valve with the pulmonary circuit is a pulmonary valve. I wish they would have made it easy. I wish they would have said any valve with the systemic circuit is a systemic valve. But because it's made up of 2 half moons that come together, that's how it gets its name, semilunar. So this valve right here is a semilunar valve. And the one outside of here, outside the right atrium, is the semilunar valve. All right, that's the pathway of blood through the heart using an inaccurate drawing. Bullet number 5. Bullet number 5, we just got to define pericardium, epicardium, myocardium, and endocardium. When your heart's inside your body, it's inside the sac. This loose sac that surrounds the heart is called the pericardium. You take the heart out of the pericardium sac, then there's going to be a tight membrane that goes around the heart. It's that common thing that we keep talking about in this class. Everything in your body wants to have a covering around it to keep bacteria around coming into it. The periosteum covers the diaphyses. Well, the epicardium is the tight membrane that goes around the heart. Your heart really is this really big muscle. And that muscle layer of the heart is called the myocardium. Wait a minute. Are you a meat eater? When you eat meat of an animal, what do you eat? Yeah, you eat the muscle. Well, if this is a muscle, could you eat heart? And the answer is yeah. And they do. They sell heart muscle in the stores, and you can eat it. Now, what makes a lot of steak good is the amount of fat that's in it. The more fat, the better it tastes. Well, heart muscle has like almost zero fat, so it doesn't taste that good. I mean, it's healthy for you. It's good source of meat, but it doesn't please the palate. Endocardium. See, the blood goes in these and then out, it goes through this muscle, and inside there's the chambers, the ventricle, the atriums. There's this inside layer right here. Oh, and it's so smooth. That is the endocardium. And the reason why it's so smooth is that blood can just slide right through the heart. I wrote down inside layer of the heart, and I write down smooth. Once again, in class, we spent more time in this, and we kind of built it up a little bit more. And we did one more thing, and it's a new note sheet, but I think you could just write it down maybe somewhere. We wrote down SA node, and we wrote down AV node. And then what we did is we drew a little heart, and we broke it up into the 4 regions, and we got the right atrium right there. See, we just talked about how blood goes through your heart and the structures involved, but how does your heart actually beat? Well, it all starts off with the medulla oblongata. There's a nerve that goes from the medulla oblongata right here. And right there is the SA node. The SA node on the street is called your pacemaker. See, the medulla oblongata sends a nerve pulse right down here. And then the SA node are these muscle cells right here. They're the first muscle cells to contract. And they're going to contract. And that's what I'm going to write down here. First heart cells to contract. Now try to wrap your head around this. Cardiac muscle is a unique type of muscle that when it contracts, it actually generates a little bit of electrical pulse. So when these heart cells contract, it generates a little bit of electrical pulse. There it is. What that causes is the cells that are next to them, they are going to contract. And when they contract, they are going to generate a little bit of electrical pulse. You see what's going to happen? It's going to trigger these series of heart muscles to start to contract. And it's going to cascade from the right atrium to the left atrium like this. And all of these cells then are going to start to contract. And when that contracts, the whole right atrium is going to contract. And when it contracts, it's going to suck the blood in. Now, the AV node is right here. It's right between the atrium and the ventricle. Wrap your head around this. What it's going to do is it's going to gather this electrical pulse and it's going to hold it for just a fraction of a second to allow the atriums to contract. And then it's going to release it. And when it releases it, then that's going to allow the ventricles to contract. So this allows the atriums to contract first, and then the ventricles contract second. I write that down. Pauses, electrical signal. to allow atrium to contract first. Well, that's what we did. Then we did worksheet number 2. You can either stop by my class tomorrow and get it, or swing by sometime and get it, or I'll give it to you next class. Great. See you on Monday.